Most people just don't have time to sift through those newsletters or navigate through those headlines, but I did it for you in this 5-minute or less video covering all the biggest news in tech, including New York Times denying OpenAI's allegations, Apple canceling their minivan, and OLED iPad Pro delayed. I'm Nate. If you're new here, I'm keeping you informed on the biggest news in tech. It helps me out if you hit that subscribe button. In the news this week, and actually this is a little bit late, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember if we talked about it on this channel yet, so gotta talk about this patent leak about what looks a whole lot like an Apple Pencil, but with some new integrations in this particular area that could be used with the Apple Vision Pro as a controller potentially. So I have a whole video on my main channel about that that's coming out later today, so go check out my main channel, subscribe, and don't miss that one. Well, this week we can expect another Starship test flight. The last two versions did not go so hot, and this one, following their iterative testing philosophy, Elon Musk is hoping that it's going to be pushing this experimental mega rocket even further during its third test flight. It's supposed to happen this week. Should be interesting. Well, Apple Car, some leaked designs and information has been coming out about the Apple Car. One, related to a partnership they were going to have with McLaren. That's not this one. This is very interesting. And actually, there's a weird kind of cool story connected to this where Mark Gurman kind of seemed to hint at the idea that maybe Volkswagen actually held off their design of a modern throwback to the old school VW. That right here is why they held off as long as they did. So interesting though, with Apple being in talks with Volkswagen at the time. But it's an interesting looking thing here. I've seen some Apple concepts over the years that actually sort of look like this, so it doesn't totally surprise me, but it is kind of funny to think. Flashy big tech company, one of the biggest companies in the world, at times the most expensive company in the world, and this would be their debut car. This is a fantastic article actually by Forbes talking about, interestingly, it's actually not really news per se, but it's how AI-enabled smart carts can bring retail into the 21st century. And just some really interesting details about how grocery stores and retail outlets in general are changing, how people purchasing things is changing, and lots of really cool, interesting stuff there for sure. But the interesting one that kind of caught me off guard was this one, thinking about AI-powered smart carts and some of the use cases for that technology. Really interesting stuff as a robotics guy. Gen Z, this is really interesting. Gen Z is dumping Google, as the Forbes article says, for TikTok, Instagram, specifically when it comes to searching for stuff locally. This is kind of interesting because I'm a millennial, so I guess maybe I just don't fall into this category. But I've never, ever thought, where do I want to go to dinner tonight? Let me hop on Instagram and see what's in the area. Or let me hop on TikTok and see what's in the area. And I know that makes me sound old, but I've just never done that. I didn't even know you could do that on TikTok. I didn't know that was a feature. Is it a feature? How are they doing this? So Gen Z and potentially the next generation after that, which I can't even remember what they're called, as you can see here on the data, is actually choosing to search preference from Google away to TikTok and Instagram and other sites when they're looking for specifically for, where is it? For local, somewhere in here, I can't remember. But really funny and interesting to see kind of how the data for that actually shook out, of 67% saying they use Instagram to search for stuff in the Gen Z population. New York Times has fired back at OpenAI. If you don't know the whole story, the story is pretty short. Basically, New York Times sued OpenAI for allowing their articles to be found through OpenAI's website and then, or through ChatGPT. And then OpenAI went back and said, no, you guys are hacking and doing specific, not illegal searches, but, you kind of manufactured the results that you're suing us about. And New York Times said, nope, didn't do that. None of that here. So we'll see how that shakes out. It's definitely interesting in the details. There really wasn't a whole lot to show, except for, you know, the Times reportedly arguing a court filing opposed OpenAI's motion to dismiss a New York Times lawsuit accusing OpenAI and Microsoft of copyright infringement. OpenAI's attention-grabbing claim that the Times hacked its products is irrelevant, as it is false. And finally, as we're getting close to that 5-minute mark here, Apple's OLED iPad Pro, according to Jose Adorno, I like all of his articles pretty much. It sounds like the actual reason that we haven't received the iPad Pro yet is possibly just down to the fact that the OLED displays are in short supply. And if you follow at all anything related to the Apple Vision Pro, this won't be entirely surprising to you, because those micro OLED displays are also in short supply. So that is the news as I have it. I'm over 5 minutes, so I got to stop here because I claimed it would be 5 minutes or less, so I got to shut up. But you can find my main channel link here on the screen and another video in case you liked this one.